Rajdeep Sardesai joins us. I'm on his show actually. He's on a holiday and all the political action is in his hometown of Mumbai. Rajdeep, what are you picking up from Maharashtra? Is the Uddhav Thackeray government soon going to be consigned to the bin of history?
You know, Rahul, you never know in Indian politics, and you never know now even in Maharashtra politics, given what happened in November 2019, Devendra Fadnavis's government lasting for just a week and then Shiv Sena tying up with NCP and Congress. But we can say safely that this government is on the brink. It will take a huge effort on the part of Uddhav Thackeray now to quell this rebellion. There are push and pull factors. There is the push factor of the style of leadership, over questions of the chief minister's attitude, over ideological differences, of Hindutva politics being diluted because of this alliance, generational changes. Are you promoting your son Aditya Thackeray at the expense of some of the older leaders like Eknath Shinde? That's one part of it. The other part, Rahul, is also the pull factors, because the BJP is a very attractive option. It is in power at the center. A number of Shiv Sena ministers find themselves under ED scanner. 2 NCP leaders are in jail. All of that has created a mahal, an environment in Maharashtra where this MVA government seems to move almost on month-to-month oxygen. And I think the 2 years of COVID gave them a respite. But now that COVID is no longer a factor, I think the BJP has decided to pounce, particularly after what happened in the Rajya Sabha and the MLC polls. They've seen the numbers grow. There are independents, the Bahujan Vikas Party of Hitendra Thakur, which has virtually switched sides to the BJP. So the BJP knows now that it can bring down this government through numbers. And I think they are playing this very carefully, unlike in November 2019, step by step, allowing the Shiv Sena to implode and then pouncing. So I sense, Rahul, that it is going to now be very difficult for Uddhav Thackeray to control the rebellion. He's not Sharad Pawar, who has a control over the NCP. Both the Congress and the Shiv Sena are vulnerable. And therefore, I think it's going to be tough for the MVA government, unless in a last-minute miracle, Eknath Shinde suddenly sees the ghost of either Anand Dige, his mentor, or Babasaheb Thackeray, the original patriarch, and believes that out of a sense of nostalgia and loyalty and commitment, he must stay in the fold.
No, but a lot of the complaints against Uddhav Thackeray, Rajdeep, seem similar to the complaints against Rahul Gandhi. Inaccessible, stuck in his bungalow, doesn't meet his own people, doesn't take care doesn't take care about their interests. So there seem to be some similarity. Both Dinesh, in some senses been seen originally as reluctant politicians, even though he then became chief minister. But it seems that there are some similarities in the criticism leveled against the two.
You know, that's an interesting way to put it, Rahul, with one caveat, that Uddhav Thackeray actually did take the responsibility of becoming chief minister. And when he became chief minister, there were these doubters. And to be fair, there will be a number of people who will tell you Uddhav Thackeray did a reasonable job during COVID times. He was suddenly seen to be reaching out to the people, not necessarily to his own politicians, fellow politicians, but to the people during COVID times. So he built a bit of a reputation for himself, which surprised a number of people. He seemed to be a canny politician. Where he failed is, I think, that he's allowed a certain coterie to develop around him. He's allowed people who do not have a mass connect to get disproportionate influence, and thereby cut out some of the older mass leaders of the Sena. Please understand, Rahul, this was a party built by Babasaheb Thackeray in a particular image. They were the Hindutva strongmen, the likes of Eknath Shinde. He controlled Thane, much like Anand Dige, his mentor, did. Now, you can't completely, in a way, isolate them. I'm not saying Eknath Shinde didn't get creamy ministries. He was the leader of the party in the assembly, but I guess he wanted, what one of his associates told me this morning, more respect. Now, whatever that means, Eknath Shinde believes that this Shiv Sena hasn't given him enough respect. And I presume that means that he actually thought that he would be, in a way, de facto chief minister, that Uddhav Thackeray would give him greater responsibility. Uddhav Thackeray's style of functioning is I wouldn't say Rahul Gandhi so much, Rahul, because I think Uddhav Thackeray has played a much more hands-on role in running the Shiv Sena, even when Babasaheb Thackeray was ailing. So he's been very involved. He's never shirked responsibility in that sense. The problem is with Uddhav Thackeray is, I think he doesn't, he doesn't have the skills to accommodate all the varying conflicting interests within the Shiv Sena, and dare I say even within the MBA alliance. There are a number of people even outside the Shiv Sena who have complained about Uddhav Thackeray's style of functioning. There are those who have said NCP is monopolizing the resources, that Sharad Pawar is remote controlling the government, and from time to time on various issues there have been concerns expressed that Uddhav Thackeray is not doing enough to protect the Sena's interests. So I think Uddhav Thackeray is a politician who still hasn't been skilled in administration. He had never held an administrative responsibility till he just became chief minister. And that, I think, somewhere the mass leaders of the Shiv Sena, like Eknath Shinde, remember, has money and muscle power. Now, these are leaders, therefore, who have the ability to control any rebellion within the party. So, ironically, someone who was controlling rebellions in the past has become the rebel himself. And there is nobody to control an Eknath Shinde, because Uddhav Thackeray, as I said, has relied on people who don't have a mass influence. So I think that is a predictable problem. You rely on you rely on relatively low profile people who are close to you or proximate to you and your family, and not to those who are connected to the masses. And Hindutva somewhere for the Shiv Sena has been a troubled issue. While it may have kept this coalition going, there are enough within the Shiv Sena, Rahul, who have always been troubled that is Hindutva getting diluted. One of the reasons why Aditya Thackeray went to Ayodhya last week was to try and send out the message, look, we are still committed in a way to religious Hindutva. It is a tough situation. This government has lasted 2 years and 8 months despite being an unnatural alliance. Can it last any more? It's going to be very, very tough. Uddhav Thackeray will have to compromise now with Eknath Shinde, and that seems difficult to do without losing face.
Okay.